Good evening, Great Debate League. Thank you so much for watching GDL 15 with Brian Thorne versus Kenny Barnes on is black capitalism is a beneficial practice for black people in America. That was Brian Thorne's first debate with the Great Debate League. It was Kenny Barnes' second debate. I think Kenny Barnes showed much improvement from his first debate, and he came to play for real tonight. So it was great to see the progression. And even in Kenny's pre-debate interview, he talked about going back and looking and studying his first debate. And Kenny, I will commend you because the progression did show. So we appreciate you for that. I just kind of got into it without introducing ourselves. We're the Great Debate League Commissioners. My name is Ebony Johnson, alongside Dr. Bruce Strobel, tonight's moderator, Dr. Mutor Flood, and Professor AJ Lowe. We appreciate y'all for being with us. Mutor, you want to start us out from the moderator? Okay, which one of y'all put that up? Bruce, did you do it, AJ?
I thought I did something.
Go ahead, Mew. You got the floor. What did you think? You were out there.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a productive debate. I thought that people watching it, viewing it, could learn something from it, and it was respectful. You could hear each person, each debater kind of give their side to things. I do think that in general, Brian should have probably talked more during the second round, where it's the back and forth, the lightning round. He kind of let Kenny dominate that, and I think that was a problem. I also think that Brian probably should have came with more evidence to support his position. Currently, he's talked about all those kind of cities that we know, that we hear about in the black capitalist myths, with the Black Wall Street and all this stuff. But that's like 100 years ago, literally. And so if he'd have talked about something that was today, like Kanye West, Kanye West today, as of today, he has been assessed that he's worth about $6.6 billion, right? The question could be, well, he's worth $6.6 billion. How is he using that money to help the black community, which is the whole idea behind the black capitalism myth? Well, the answer is he's not. He's not. He may help his close family and friends, but as far as a quote unquote captain of the industry, not many black people are employed, but we have this cult, of loving, rich, wealthy people, as we think that they made it when they do nothing for us. So I'll get off my soapbox and give it to somebody else.
Bruce, your mic is off. Go ahead, Bruce. I want to hear what you got to say.
No, I thought Brian, he lost it early in the lightning round. I thought opening statements, I could see that, he was nervous and it was his first time debating, and I've been there before, so I understood that. Lightning round, he started to open up, but he let Kenny steal the show right then. And he was trapped in trying to get out of a debate on capitalism in general and make it about black capitalism, but he never created a clear vision of what black capitalism was. So that allowed Kenny to make it about capitalism in general, and without a clear definition of black capitalism, then Brian was stuck in a debate he didn't want to be in. So every time he tried to pivot away, Kenny was like, no, back to capitalism in general. And he was beating capitalism up. And I think, if Brian got another chance to do this debate, I'm sure he would perform a lot better. But, it happens on debate night. It's a live show. So it was tough. I saw him struggling, and he fought back when he could. But Kenny, by the time we got to question and answer and we got to the closing arguments, Kenny was in rare form. I was like, he sounded like Chairman Fred out there right now. Like Kenny was on.
I thought that too. I think it's the Chicago accent. I was like, what, is this Fred Hampton? Like he sounded very, very
he was polished.
Political. Yeah, polished. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I really commend, Kenny for coming back and doing, a debate, because, he really lost that last debate. and he knew it, and we all talked about it. And it takes a really good character to kind of come back, lick your wounds and come back, into the arena and do well. So I commend him for sure, because he came with that fire.
I'll say it was definitely a one-sided match. Kenny did head and shoulders above where he was the last time, and I think that in this debate, Kenny performed. He pretty much did what was done to him in the first debate. I think I look forward to seeing Brian come back, because I think that when he comes back from this one, he's going to be even more polished.
Way more prepared.
I think that what we're witnessing, we are witnessing the polishing of two potentially good debaters.
Yep.
And I saw one
Well
that
said.
was, I saw the one that was there was like the rough diamond that's starting to get polished. I think that there were some opportunities where he could have really shut it down. He was provided with several opportunities where he could have really shut it down. And I think that some of his responses, especially when his response in the question and answer, which got it from me when he responded that a lot of these communities got molested by capitalism. I think that he had missed opportunities in explaining, Kenny did. He had missed opportunities in explaining like contemporary capitalism. For example, what happened in Texas. That would be just a general example of why capitalism could be problematic.
Or even COVID.
He did say Flint. He talked about Flint.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah,
that was a brutal one.
But remember that Texas gets a crash course in capitalism within the last couple of weeks. As far as what happened, that was just raw capitalism. What all Texans got hit with, right? And that would have been a perfect example just to he could have provided at the time. But Kenny did very well. I'm very impressed by Kenny's improvement. And I look forward to seeing what Brian is going to do, because it's the losses that people bounce back from even more fierce.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One of the things that really stood out for me was the level of confidence that I think definitely benefited obviously Kenny, and it added to the level of persuasiveness, within their arguments, because sometimes we can have information, but if we're nervous and not able to really use it to our advantage, we can have it, but with our nerves blocking our ability to deliver it confidently, it's as if we don't have it. And I feel as though that could have happened in Brian's case, where at the end, he was bringing up some numbers and statistics and saying, so you knew he had some information, but I feel his nerves got the best of him.
Right.
And Bruce has brought up the feedback from the scorecards. Bruce, you want to take us through it? I'm not sure if the audience can see it as well. I can see it a little all right, but Bruce, you want to take us through the scores?
Okay. As you can see, we score in multiple categories. So we score based off fact-based arguments. And you can see in the blue are the scores given to Brian. In the red are the scores given to Kenny. And you can see Kenny, they're pretty much even here, where they pretty much score even in this fact-based area for the most part, a little favoring Kenny. We get down here to subject matter expertise, and you can see Kenny is coming off with more proficient scores. Brian has more unsatisfactory scores for subject matter expertise. Persuasiveness, it looks like this is where Kenny's going to dominate. He's scoring higher here with the superior 4, and he has 2 threes. So that puts him pretty far out. Elocution, communicated clearly and confidently. You see, again, Kenny getting the higher scores here. Defense, Kenny, this is where Kenny was probably the most dominant, and his ability to rebuttal a lot of Brian's statements. He did that very well throughout the night. That brings us to our final thing. You can see right now we have, with the votes that have come in thus far, we have Kenny ahead Oh, okay. It's 2 people have given it to Brian to 5 to Kenny. So we'll see as we get a couple more votes in how that goes. But right now it looks like Kenny Barnes is coming away as our winner. We'll know in a few minutes when we close this poll, see who won the debate.
Right. Well, I mean, it was like I said, it was one-sided as far as I'm concerned. As far as what I saw, it seemed one-sided, and like I really do chalk that up to Brian's nerves. I think he was a little
Yeah.
nervous. He was a little nervous.
Like I was talking to him, earlier before we started the broadcast, that this goes quickly. Like once you're in front of the camera with this, it goes very quick, and
Right.
so the preparation has to be like super on point. You almost have to remember what you're gonna say so that you don't have to like search through things and look through it. Because I did that too in my first debate when I did it with Bruce. I was looking through. I had like little index cards taped to my computer and stuff. Trying to figure out what I was gonna say next. And so you kind of figure out how you're gonna do what you do when you debate. It's a learning curve. And I'm pretty sure that when Brian comes back, if he comes back, which I hope he does,
I hope he does too.
Because he has strong opinions on a lot of different subject matters that a lot of people would probably not agree with. That I know he's going to come really, really strong.
I thought it would have been interesting, since he said in his self-written bio that he was a student of Dr. Claude Anderson's Powernomics, if he would have used more of those points that he studied under Dr. Claude Anderson to say this is how Black capitalism can be beneficial for Black people. So that's what I was looking for in tonight's debate, and I missed. I was running tech, so with certain things, I wasn't hearing every single thing necessarily.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to
I know what happened.
Powernomics.
I know what happened. It is exactly what Mito just said. You have all this stuff, and sometimes you can have too much information, and you get up here on the stage, and it's like, oh, I forgot to even get to these points. And
because he had a lot of opportunities to talk about Dr. Claude Anderson's like vertical integration, what he talks about in his book, and a lot of the different concepts. I know he took some of the concepts from Dr. Claude when he talked about the different cities, that Black cities that had employment opportunities for Black folks. But like Ebony said, he really should have kind of delved into Dr. Claude Anderson's analysis and his Powernomics book.
Man, just capitalism is a hard sell unless you're talking to a group of wealthy people or people who believe that they're going to become wealthy. But when you're
that's why it was important when Kenny kind of led off and said, "Hey, we're talking about adopting capitalism, but whites are not even happy with the system. A lot of them are really, really poor. So if they're poor and disgruntled with the system, us adopting it, what is that going to say to us? How are we going to do it much better when they own all the wealth and the capital?"
And then as an aspiring environmentalist myself, I thought Kenny went for the kill when he took it to Flint, Michigan, and tied that to like, oh, you think capitalism? How can capitalism hurt Black people today? Look at Flint, Michigan. Look at governors taking kickbacks. Look at how the political system has been corrupted, all to advance personal wealth and capitalist principles, right? And I was like, yeah, Brian had no rebuttal for that. He couldn't unmarry capitalism from the environmental disasters that we're seeing today. So,
but that's why it's very important with definitions, because even if he tried to do that, he could have said, "Hey, even if he tried to unwed capitalism from Black capitalism, then he could have brought it back and said, hey, the definition you agreed upon, that is capitalism. And whether you put a Black face on it doesn't matter. It's capitalism."
Right.
The same kind of machinations would have occurred.
Even his opening example, which wasn't really a good one, Kenny's opening example during the cross-examination, he's talking about the plane crash. I think I understand what he was saying. He could have crafted it better, but when he was like, yeah, is this fair? Brian was like, no, it's not fair. I'm like, oh, no.
No, right. I'm saying when he said it wasn't fair, that would have been
that was game over right there.
Game over right there.
It depends on Brian's approach. And if he would have took the hard line and said capitalism isn't about fairness, it's about opportunity, then now we're talking. But then you have to show how does that benefit Black people in the long run. And I think that's a hard sell.
But then what Kenny could have said is that no, capitalism is what we have defined it as, which is exactly the example that I'm using, which you just said is unfair. So it's like, how do we change it and put makeup on it to turn it into Black capitalism?
I guess what I'm saying is Kenny would have had to take almost a moralist approach to say, who cares about fairness? All we care about is advancing our economic situation. If
you know what, I think Brian was saying that at some points in the conversation.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He was trying to say like, hey, I'm
kind of a Milton Friedman kind of argument. Like, you need to be greedy. Black people need to get out and get it at all costs. How Jay-Z was, and get that billion, and then help the community afterward. I think that would have been a more palatable argument.
Even though Jay-Z's not helping out the community.
That's what I would have.
Fair enough. I'm not insinuating that he is or is not. That's another debate. Just saying a type of an argument I would have.
I just want to throw more stabs at Black capitalism. The Smith.
Ebony, what were you gonna say, sir?
I think Brian, it was some things I felt he was trying to get out. He just didn't see certain things through when he was saying, well, we can use industry ourselves to do X, Y, and Z, and we can own our own land and whatnot. And he said certain things, but I think the way that he delivered it and didn't necessarily stay with certain points that he was trying to make long enough, that hindered him. And again, when we're talking about Black capitalism, well, if he is a student of Dr. Claude Anderson's Empowernomics, he could have just hit home. He could have just hit that, just said boom, 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 because some people really embrace Dr. Claude Anderson's philosophies. The other thing that I want to say finally before we look back at the scorecards to see if we have any more is that one of the things that I personally like with Kenny's approach, and this is probably a lot to do with persuasiveness, is I felt as though Kenny was relatable in the messages that he was delivering. Like his points, we knew those personally, through personal experiences when he would certain instances when he would say, you are the capital. You're the one that is the capital,
that was a killer line.
It was certain points that he made that were extremely direct and personal. And I felt from a persuasiveness and elocution level, he did a great job at that.
And like I said, I think what Brian learned in this debate is that, this is not easy and it takes a little bit more preparation and it can be nerve-wracking. Yeah. I think that what I see in Brian is what I see him doing what Kenny did to somebody else. The next time he's going to come out there, he's going to be prepared and he's going to be ready to go because Kenny put on a clinic this evening.
And to add to that, I think Brian will be more confident because you said, he had his information and I think he did do his preparation work. It's just a matter of how he knew which angle he wanted to go and his nerves. And so the next time, just naturally, he'll be more confident.
Right. Just like Kenny, he had his nerves in the first one. It was, like I said, this is going to be, I'm more interested in watching these two guys develop because they're going to be very, very serious.
So
all right, where we at, Bruce?
Our final score has remained the same with our negative debater, Kenny Barnes, taking 71% of the vote versus Brian, the affirmative, with 28.6% of the vote. So we're going to go ahead and declare Kenny the winner. It's a non-ranked debate, but it still matters who wins.
All right. Congratulations to Kenny Barnes. We appreciate you for coming out strong, your second showing in the Great Debate League. And there is going to show if you've done it once and you didn't like your performance, you can do it again and turn it around 180 degrees. So there you go. Again, we appreciate you, Brian Thorne, for bringing it to the table so that we do have a debate because nobody can win if you don't have an opponent. And to make each other stronger and better. Y'all stay with us. We will have more debates coming in April and continuing in the months.
What's our next debate?
Well, that's why I didn't announce it first because still have our schedule. Yeah, our schedule thing going. But look out for that. We will post that. And Bruce did put up the debate matchup form. If you've watched tonight and you want to get in the ring and debate. We fill out our matchup form or pose a premise that you want to debate in our group, in our the Great Debate League on our Facebook group, and
Or
reach
email
out. And folks can comment and we can set up a debate that way as well. We appreciate y'all for rolling with us. We're getting more and more to season 2. It's exciting, as you can see. I mean, Bruce pulling up the pie charts and stuff. We have moved on up to the east side.
All right. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, I love it, y'all. Let's keep it going.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody have a great night.